Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin. We're going to open up with some back-end liquidation data, kind of go from there. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance, and join us over on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I also have a trading academy, community, and signals group. That's all linked down below. So when it comes to Bitcoin, the important thing we're going to recognize here is that there's a lot of liquidation starting to pile up on both sides. So really just kind of tells us we've got somewhat of a breakout due in for us, or in store, however you want to look at it. 112 to 114 is that upper liquidation range. That hasn't changed much. Since that's a heavier concentration, it makes more sense for the price to go up, just based on how whales are manipulative and they really like to sweep those late shorts and late longs. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at from a macro perspective. When it comes to locally, we can see 106 to 105, a little bit more liquidation down there. But if you see my videos already, you'll know that there is a weekly high closure. Basically, our previous high turned into a potential new low at 106. We did come down to that 106, 107K range yesterday as we kind of started the holiday weekend off. So take a look here. Liquidation delta is tapering off. This is good. We want this to happen just so that way the next leg up can be substantiated due to the fact that if you have too much liquidation in one direction, the price is more likely to pull back. That's kind of what we saw yesterday. It was probably just that simple, taking profits on a Friday leading into a 3-day holiday weekend. There's a lot of that going on. But for the most part, liquidation delta at 15 billion tells us the bulls are still in control, but also that we're potentially seeing that shift in momentum. We look at open interest here. This is last month's worth of open interest. Once more, we're looking at about 105 and 107 as close approximates of those open areas of interest here locally. And we go, of course, 110 is that resistance range. So as I mentioned yesterday, was going to be looking at a short position at around 110,000. I'm still considering that or leaning towards that this weekend, but it's too early to tell. Let's go ahead and we'll find out here soon if that even comes to pass, right? But the key takeaway here is we're underneath the 20-day SMA on the 4-hour time frame. That kind of lets us know that we're somewhat under a local resistance, that we've shifted momentum. Now, it's not a guarantee we're going to go down, because you see this. When the last time that happened, the price went sideways and eventually went up. So it's not a guarantee by any stretch, just kind of an early indication of what's going on. Looking at the weekly here, we take a look here, the previous weekly high close, that's basically last week. We're soon to close obviously above that, depending on how it works out. But generally speaking, 106 to 107 based on open interest and weekly high closures kind of lets us know that that's a potential local support or local bottom. We take a look here, we can see MACD is still swinging up. Stochastic slowing down, but for the most part, these are all bullish type of signs here. I'm not sure who said it, that there's there's like a divergence on the MACD and the weekly. That's not accurate. The monthly, of course, does have a shift in momentum to the upside, and majority of that fair value gap has been filled. So there's a lot of good stuff going on in the macro perspective that we're more likely to continue higher. It makes a ton of sense. Now, it doesn't mean you can't still short and have some success here, but for the most part, at this point, it's important to recognize that if we continue higher up, 1.618, that's our basically our overextension, our fib extension there. 130,000 approximately would be our local high there, just to kind of give you some perspective. So we look at this. I'll go ahead and I'll update that a little bit later. You'll have a new update on our playout chart available on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. So if you're not familiar, it does look a little something like this here. But for the most part, we're looking at MACD trying to diverge here on the daily. We are starting to see, a breakdown here, so to speak. We're under our moving average. Money flow index is low. These are early signs of weakness. So generally speaking, while we're above all moving averages, and that's super important, it doesn't mean we can't still correct and come down. People seem to misinterpret moving averages as support levels. They simply add confluence at specific areas of support if there is one. And there isn't really a support at 104.5 thousand. Generally speaking, that's just kind of a good guide to let us know we're on the right side of the tracks. So just kind of clarify that, as some people may not understand how that works. And that's okay. What we want to look at here too as well is the 4-hour time frame, and just kind of double check before we round out this analysis here that we're still swinging down on the MACD. Stochastic is swinging up for obvious reasons. It's kind of picking up the local bottom, and then we're right here at 50 in the RSI. So these are not bad signs at all. They're just more bearish than bullish. So short-term correction or continuation lower does still make a lot of sense here. So I would say, if you're going to consider shorting, we got a local point of control here at 104,000. We've seen the most amount of volume locally there. That would be the sensible place for the price to pivot if we were to come back down any further. Okay. So just note, I think further downside makes a little bit more sense for Bitcoin, but it's a 3-day holiday weekend, folks. Things are weird on for Bitcoin on holiday weekends. Traditional markets totally make sense. You sell off on Friday and then you buy back in on Monday. That's kind of what the concept is, or in this case, rather Tuesday, since Monday is a holiday. But with crypto being 24/7, you notice a lot of weird stuff on weekends, but more specifically manipulation. So I generally recommend not trading weekends, or if you're going to trade into them, make sure you use proper risk tolerance. So hopefully that makes sense and I described that correctly. Last but not least, folks, make sure you take advantage of this. I'm getting a lot of questions right now. Yes, Bitunix is the exchange that we use as a community. Been using them for a long time. If we look here, there's a lot of benefits using them this month. Nice little promotion, so be sure to take advantage of that. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, though. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you next one. Take care.